Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about pastoralists in the modern world. We will explore who pastoralists are, how they live, and what challenges they have faced over time. So, let's begin. Pastoralists are people who move from place to place with their animals. They raise animals like goats, sheep, camels, cattle, and buffaloes. Sometimes, when they stop during their journey, they even grow some crops. They live a nomadic life depending on nature's rhythm, which means they don't live in one fixed place. Their lifestyle depends a lot on nature. Can you imagine moving your home several times a year? That is how they live. Now, you might wonder, do they just wander randomly? Not at all. Nomadic pastoralists do not move randomly. They have a deep understanding of land, water, and seasons. They mostly consume grains like bajra, maize, and wheat. Some grains they grow themselves, and some they get by trading their animals and products. The barter system plays an important role in their economy. They choose animals according to the climate. For example, camels are perfect for deserts, while sheep are better suited for hills. But why do they keep moving? The main reasons are to avoid overgrazing one place, to find fresh grass in different seasons, and to escape harsh weather like snow or drought. This regular movement is called transhumance. Have you heard this word before? It simply means seasonal movement with animals. Let's look at some examples. The Gujjar Bakarwals from Jammu and Kashmir are herders who migrate between the low hills of the Sivalik in winter and the green pastures of Kashmir in summer. They travel in groups called kafilas. In April, when the snow melts, they go north. In September, they come back before snow returns. The Gaddi shepherds of Himachal Pradesh have a similar routine. In winter, they stay and graze flocks in the Sivalik hills. In summer, they move to Lahul and Spiti. They reap crops during the return in September and sow winter crops before moving back to lower hills. Groups like the Bhotiyas, Sherpas, and Kinauris also follow similar seasonal migration patterns. They move between dry forests in winter and green alpine meadows, called bugyals, in summer. This system ensured grasslands could recover and didn't get overgrazed. Isn't it smart? The Dangars of Maharashtra have their own pattern. The Dangars stayed in the dry plateau during monsoon, grazing sheep on bajra fields. In October, they moved to Konkan, where their sheep manured the land. In return, farmers gave them rice. They returned before the next monsoon as their sheep could not tolerate wet conditions. In Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, the Kurumas, Kurubas, and Golas live. The Golas herd cattle. The Kurumas and Kurubas rear sheep and goats and even weave blankets. They move to the coast during the dry season and return when the monsoon arrives. The Raikas of Rajasthan herd camels and sheep. During the monsoon, they stay in villages where grass was available. In October, when pastures dried, they migrated in search of food and water for their animals. They followed this seasonal routine every year. The Banjaras are different. They are found in many states like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra. They travel long distances to sell cattle and trade for grain, often in large groups. Pastoral groups plan their movements carefully, based on grass and water availability. They often have good relations with farmers. Many also practiced small-scale farming, weaving, and trade to support their livelihood. Imagine how much they know about nature, animals, and farming. But then came the British rule, and things changed. The British wanted land for farming, so they passed the wasteland rules to convert grazing land into farms. Grazing lands were turned into farms. This made life very hard for pastoralists as they lost access to their traditional lands. forests were declared as reserved or protected. Pastoralists now needed permission to enter them. Grazing was restricted and regulated. Officials believed that animal grazing damaged trees, though it was vital for herders' survival. The British even labeled some nomadic groups criminals by birth. These groups were forced to settle in one place, get permits to move, and were constantly watched by the police. This way, they lost access to pasture and markets. In the mid-19th century, the British also introduced taxes on grazing. First, contractors collected these taxes. Later, the government did. Herders had to carry a pass showing the number of animals and the tax paid. This made pastoral life expensive and difficult. With shrinking grazing lands, animals became weak. Overgrazing made things worse. Movement and trade were disturbed. Livelihoods became very weak. Pastoralists reduced herd sizes and explored new areas. Some became farmers or traders. Others started doing small jobs or took loans to survive. They showed great strength and adjusted to the new world. Let's now look at Africa. Over 22 million pastoralists lived there. Communities like the Maasai, Turkana, and Berbers, who lived in semi-arid zones, depended on cattle, camels, sheep, and goats. They sold milk, wool, skins, and meat. In 1885, the British and Germans divided Maasai land. The Maasai lost over 60% of their land. They were pushed into dry areas. Without enough pasture, many cattle died during droughts. Colonial borders stopped their movement. They couldn't enter markets without permits. Reserves made moving even harder. Trade and daily life were badly affected. During droughts, they could not move to green areas due to these restrictions. In Kenya, a severe drought in 1933 to 34 killed more than half of the Maasai's cattle. Shrinking pastures made the crisis worse. Even among the Maasai, not everyone suffered equally. Elders and warriors lost power, while some colonial chiefs gained wealth. Chiefs lived in towns, whereas the poor herders suffered. The gap between rich and poor grew. So, what have we learnt? Pastoralists adapt to nature and seasons. Colonialism reduced their freedom and land. Both Indian and African pastoralists faced similar struggles. But despite the hardships, they survived by adapting to new ways to live. Before we end, here are some important words. Pastoralist, a person who herds animals. Nomadic, moving place to place. Transhumans, seasonal migration with animals. Grazing, animals eating grass. Criminal Tribes Act, the law that restricted nomads.
We hope that you have understood the topic. You can now study chapter notes, watch video lectures and solve MCQ tests of this chapter on EduRev. To ensure you score well in your school exams. And that's not all, you also get amazing courses for maths, science, English, Hindi, and much more. Thank you.